When we were about to head to the amusement park, my beta boyfriend, Drew, brought along a woman and her daughter. There happened to be one seat short in the car. Drew told me to get out and give my seat to the two of them. Laura has a kid with her. Let them go first. I'll come back for you later, he said. I calmly stepped out and watched as the car slowly pulled away from the pack. 3 hours later, they arrived at the amusement park for the fireworks and feast. When a friend asked Drew why he still hadn't come back to get me, Drew was patiently helping Laura light a giant firework. He wasn't in a rush at all and even said, "It'll be fine if I pick Sienna up later. She won't mind. I'll coax her a bit, and she'll stop being mad." Anger only worked on people who cared about someone. My dad, mom, and brother never cared, and now, not even Drew cared anymore. It was time for me to leave for good. The moment Drew brought Laura and her daughter, Anne, along, I knew today wasn't going to go smoothly. Laura was in a beautiful white dress. She held Anne's hand as they walked toward us. "Sienna, Drew told me you personally invited me on this trip. Thank you so much." Laura smiled gently, but there was a clear look of challenge in her eyes. She knew perfectly well I would never have invited her. Drew loaded her luggage into the trunk and opened the rear door, only to freeze in place. Two unfamiliar young werewolves were already sitting in the empty seats. One of Drew's friends scratched his head awkwardly and said, "Sorry, Drew. These are my two younger brothers. They joined at the last minute. I didn't know you were bringing guests." Drew's expression darkened. He didn't say a word. The friend quickly stepped forward to make his brothers leave, but Laura stopped him. "They're at the age when they would enjoy a trip like this. Don't make them leave." Laura lowered her head slightly. "In that case, and I won't go. I hope you all have a great trip," she said solemnly. She started to walk away, but after just a few steps, she turned back and looked at Drew, and was really looking forward to the fireworks at the amusement park. "Since we can't go, could you at least send her some photos and videos of the fireworks later?" Drew hesitated. Then, seeing the hopeful look in little Anne's eyes, he seemed to make up his mind. He walked over to my side of the car, opened the door, and dragged me out. "Sienna, there aren't enough seats, and Laura has her daughter with her. Just let them go first. I'll come back for you later, alright?" My eyes went wide open. I couldn't believe that he was really going to leave me by the road. He turned away, avoiding my gaze, and said firmly, "There's no time to get another car. Be good and just wait here a while. I'll be back soon." Maybe I looked too pitiful, because the two young werewolves got out of the car too. Their eyes were filled with sympathy and a touch of guilt. "Sienna, you take the seat. We'll stay behind," one of them said. I looked straight into Drew's eyes, hoping to see just a flicker of hesitation, but his gaze was calm and indifferent. It was as if it didn't matter whether I stayed or the two young werewolves stayed. I lowered my head to hide my hurt feelings and quietly grabbed my suitcase. "You all go ahead. It's fine." I gently pushed the two young werewolves back into the car and stepped aside with my luggage. Before they drove off, Laura, holding Anne, waved smugly at me. Through the window, I saw Drew's profile. He didn't even glance back at me. It was as if the person being kicked out was just some unimportant stranger. During the 3-hour ride to the amusement park, Laura posted 10 updates on her Instagram, including scenery along the way and Drew's handsome profile while driving. In the comments, someone asked, "Laura, is that your mate? He's so hot." Laura didn't respond. She just posted an emoji of embarrassment. Halfway through, Drew called me once. He told me to stay right where I was and wait for him to come back. But the sun was scorching. My skin started to burn under the heat. It wouldn't be long before I became dehydrated and exhausted. Still, I didn't say a word. I even agreed. That was because I wanted to see if Drew would actually keep his promise. I waited for 3 full hours by the road. Eventually, I grew tired and took shelter under a nearby canopy. When night finally fell, all I got was a video update from Laura. In the video, a full moon rose to the sky. Drew was holding Laura's arm tightly while he helped her light the firework in her hands. Laughter echoed in the background. It was followed by someone shouting, "Drew, aren't you going to pick Sienna up? The feast at the amusement park is about to begin. She's going to miss it." Drew's hand froze mid-motion. Laura's firework slipped from her grip and fell to the ground. He looked torn. After a long silence, he picked up the firework and finally muttered, "It'll be fine if I'm late. Sienna is understanding. She won't get mad." I stopped the video before it even finished playing because I already knew he wasn't coming back for me. The amusement park was only 3 hours from home, but 8 hours had gone by, and he still hadn't shown up. I slowly stood, slipped off my engagement ring, and put it away. Drew had changed. He was no longer the man who once loved me. That marking ceremony I had been waiting so long for probably wasn't happening anymore. The fireworks and feast at the amusement park lasted until midnight. Afterward, everyone started setting up tents to settle in for the night. As soon as Laura and her daughter stepped into a tent, they were abruptly kicked out by my friend. "Get out. This tent was meant for Sienna. You're not welcome here." Laura hadn't brought a tent. Drew tried to find one for her, but at that point, there were no extras left. Tears welled in Laura's eyes as she looked at Drew. "Sienna must be mad. Is that why her friend's picking on us? It's all my fault. If I hadn't been too scared to light the fireworks, and if Anne hadn't begged so hard to play, you wouldn't have spent so much time with us. We don't belong here, and I should leave." Drew's breathing grew unsteady, but it wasn't because Laura said she wanted to leave. It was because he suddenly remembered he'd forgotten to come back for me. He wanted to rush off immediately, but in the end, he stayed to make sure Laura and her daughter were taken care of. The amusement park was far from the city. There was nowhere nearby for a woman and child to stay. Drew's heart softened. He couldn't let them just leave like that. He grabbed Laura's wrist. "Enough. This has nothing to do with you. If Sienna's mad, she's mad at me. Take my tent. I'll drive back, he said firmly. Drew asked his friends to look after Laura and Anne. He didn't even take his luggage. He just turned to leave. His steps were noticeably quicker than usual, but Laura called out to him. I'll go with you. If Sienna's upset, I can help explain. Drew hesitated before agreeing. Knowing me, I wouldn't leave until he came back. He figured it'd take a lot of convincing to calm me down. When it came to talking things out, women spoke to each other better, so he brought Laura along. But Anne was still a child. She wouldn't survive a 3-hour ride without her toys and blankets. Those things had to be brought along. By the time everything was packed, another hour had passed. Drew, usually impatient, actually sat in the car and waited for Laura for an hour. On the way, Laura was worried Drew might get hungry while driving, so she personally fed him cookies. I saw it all, clear as day, in the video Laura posted on Instagram. I downloaded every single video. Then I sent Drew a message. I've gone home. Don't come back for me. Have fun. Drew drove back to the place where he'd left me the day before. Morning sunlight now filtered through the trees by the road. The mist had not yet fully lifted. There was no one in sight on the empty road. At that moment, a wave of panic filled him. It felt like he had lost something incredibly important. That feeling only intensified when he read the message I'd sent. Back at the villa, I was packing my things. I was aching inside and on the verge of tears. I had already decided to let go of this relationship, yet my heart still hurt so much. Drew called, but I didn't answer. I just stared at the screen as it lit up and dimmed again. The man who once promised to protect me for life had chosen Laura over me. When I was a child, I went missing and wandered for years. I wasn't found by my family until I was 10. By then, there was already another girl at home about the same age as me. I stood in the living room, filthy from years on the street, and looked up at Laura, who stood on the second floor in a nice dress. In her eyes, I saw disdain and disgust like I was some dirty stray scavenging in the trash. She offered to teach me etiquette, only to humiliate me in front of the maids over and over again. She wouldn't let me eat at the table and ripped up the beautiful dresses and delicate dolls my parents had given me. Afterward, she would tell my parents that I'd been wandering for too long and that I was withdrawn, selfish, and a compulsive liar. To fit into this family, I tried to be obedient and kind. Even when Laura bullied me, I remained silent. All I got in return was more bullying. My family grew colder toward me with each passing day. They said Laura was a refined young lady, and I was an uncultured brat. They said I'd picked up the lowly habits of stray werewolves, and that I was vulgar and unworthy. They even said I was worse than the cook's daughter. It was only then that I realized that the girl my parents treated like their own daughter was the cook's child.